Happy Republic Day, everybody. One of my favorite actors is here, Rajeev Khandelwal. And it's always a pleasure catching up with him, not just because of his diverse roles and performances, but also of his thought process as a human being. And I'm sure you ladies are not complaining. One of the most good looking men in India. Happy Republic Day to you. And it's such an important day for us. What are you feeling as an Indian? And what would you like to say to the legendary Dr. Ambedkar and our founding fathers of the Indian Constitution?
Rishi, hi. It's always a pleasure speaking to you, by the way. For some odd reason, you have the knack of making heart-to-heart conversation, which is brilliant always. So, yeah, happy Republic Day to you and to all my fellow countrymen as well. Republic Day, each year, we as actors, we are asked as to what would you like to say on Republic Day, and mostly it's the same that our constitution was laid in 1950, and then that's how India became republic, and so and so, so and so. This year, I was just thinking about, and it was, I don't know, a random thought came to me when somebody asked me that my fondest memory of Republic Day is when I actually was watching that grand parade. When I was watching that parade, they're sitting there because my dad was in the army, and we had the privilege of sitting in the front row and standing there. And I remember every time jhanki, we would call the jhankiyan ja rahi hain hamare desh ki. So every time somebody would pass, you would stand up and salute. And you would be so proud of your country. You would be so proud that the flag which would be here, you would ensure that the flag stays right till the evening. And it was like a matter of pride, looking at our might, looking at the army guys, looking at the paramilitary forces and the diversity of our country and things like that. Now, when it comes to it, and that was very innocent. You're feeling proud of the country. Now, I don't know. I mean, somewhere we all need to understand the importance of this day. This Republic Day, my message to everyone has been that we have a constitution laid down, we have fundamental rights, we have fundamental principles. We just know because we have studied in our school, but do we really know about our fundamental rights, and do we speak about it? Do we know about the directive principles? We need to kind of go, what does the preamble say? Things like that. It's very important that people of this country need to understand the importance of this day. We need to know the constitution because most of us do not know about our fundamental rights. And that is one reason why we are, when it comes to the politicians, when it comes to the administration, we do not question them. And we have all the rights. We have the right to question them. So my only request to everyone on this Republic Day would be that it's a very important day. And it was not just meant to be, it was written keeping everything in mind about the nation, be it the people in administration or the citizens of the country. So it is very important, at least know your fundamental rights. I'm not going to stress on bigger things because it's a huge thing. Our constitution is a massive thing. But my focus this year is that please understand your fundamental rights, and we can always join hands together and question the administration when things do not go right. I mean, that's all that I'm going to take from this year from the constitution. But of course, if you go through it, you read the constitution, you realize that they had the maturity to see what would happen after 70 years, 80 years. I mean, something that only I think Mr. B.R. Ambedkar could do and his team could do.
The reason Rajiv is speaking to me today is because he is in a teleplay called Court Martial. It's very unique. It will give you goosebumps, and it will ask you to ask questions of yourself. It is on DTH as of Republic Day, on Airtel Spotlight, and also on Z5. So you can stream it, you can watch it on conventional television, whatever your mode might be, your phone or otherwise. And like I told you just before we got on, it's not an easy watch, not because it's any less entertaining, but it asks us some very, very deep questions. I want to get into that a little later, but why theatre? I know Z Theatre is run by Shelja. Did you ever interact with her during all those years of your performances at Star? Was she the one who said, Rajiv, maybe you should do the theatre? And when was the last time you did a play? School, college, later? Let's talk about theatre first.
All right. So first and foremost, I really feel when I come to Bombay, the first place I had visited was Prithvi Theatre. Somebody took me to Prithvi Theatre, and I went there and I saw somebody performing, and the audience was so close to the stage that I said, "Oh my, will I ever be able to do this?" I mean, what confidence this guy has who's performing. It was a solo play, I think, a solo performance. And I was watching it and I said, someday, I mean, my victory would be if I could pull this off right there, forgetting there's anyone around me, and I perform. It's a very difficult medium. It is not an easy medium. I wanted to do a play. I mean, it's been for 20 years I've been wanting to do a play, but I could never muster enough courage, to be very honest. And each time somebody would come to me with a script, I would actually say, "Abhi time nahi hai, nahi yaar, bahut time isme lagega. Abhi 2 mahine rehearsal karne mein to time hi nahi hai. Main ye kar raha hu, main wo kar raha hu." Knowing that somewhere, Rajiv, you do not have the confidence to pull off a play. It is very easy to actually say no and give an excuse to your own brain that I'm busy. So when this one came to me, court martial, I read the play. Now the thing is that couple of reasons why I picked up this play, because this olive green, and I'm also wearing something which is very symbolic, by the way, it's court martial. So I come from an army background. My father was in the army, my brother is in the army, so there is a connect with the army. Secondly, when I read the play, I was told it's a classic, and I was about to say no to them. If I had not read the play, I would have said no to them, because I said again the same thing. But I mean, play with all the energy actors, Rajiv. You're going to test yourself and let it be, because people still think that you are a decent actor. Why ruin that? So by doing a play, attempting a play. But when I read the play, Rishi, it was what you were saying, that the goosebumps I felt when I was reading it. Even though the play was written in 85, it still is so relevant. Things have changed. Of course, we'll discuss about that later. So when I read the play, I said, okay, this is interesting. Then I was told, and Shailja had not featured until then, because I didn't know that who was heading the channel. And I said, okay, let's do it. They said 14 days is all that we have. We have to shoot it in 14 days. I think there was a little comfort level that they were going to shoot it. So I asked them, will there be any cuts? Or are we going to shoot it like a play? They said, we're going to shoot it like a play, but we'll have 3 cuts, 30-minute segment. I mean, 3 segments, 30 minutes each. I said, okay. And then I pushed myself, Rajiv, throw yourself in this. And I actually threw myself in this. I said, 14 days, I have the time. Let's do this. Let's tick this off in life that I did something like that. I did a play. And then we started rehearsing, and 14 days was too less a time. But then I think I was the fastest to remember the lines. Fastest, because I was the most nervous guy. So for me, within 4 days, I knew the lines like the back of my hand, as if I have written those lines. And these theatre guys told me, Rajiv, ये आपने कैसे किया? बिकॉज 7-8 दिन तो कम से कम समझने में लगते हैं, ये तो हम सब थिएटर वाले हैं. मैंने कहा बिकॉज आप तो प्रोफेशनल्स हो, आप तो जाते होगे, यू मस्ट हैव थॉट दैट ओके फाइन, जब टाइम आ गया तो कर लेंगे. For me, I was saying those lines when I'm traveling. I think I went on a holiday or somewhere. I'm sitting in the flight. I'm sure these people must have thought, the crew and everyone, that what has gone wrong with this man? Because I would be just saying my lines, remembering the lines, remembering the pages. I wanted to mug up the entire thing, so that then I could focus on the other elements. And that happened. And then anyway, and then we shot the play. For me, the biggest high was the penultimate day of the shoot, when we did the grand rehearsal, because that was without any cut. And the entire crew was there. People from the channel were there. And there were about 50 people. We had called in our friends and relatives also. That was the performance. I mean, not the one that is short, because short, we still had 3 cuts. That real feel of doing something from the word go. And especially when, and I would not be modest to not tell you this, we got a standing ovation, and my co-actors only came and told me, Rajiv, it is amazing, because we had this whole thing about film actors and TV actors that unka aisa attitude hota hai, wo nahi kar pate hain. You actually were the best in the entire, in a sense, you were at par with almost everyone. Never felt that you've never done theatre. And then Shailja happened, and Shailja, of course, I've known her for the last 20 years. When she had quit Star Plus, I was not in touch with her. But when she came when she came and met me, it was fantastic, because I had started my career, literally my career, with her. And there's an other interesting story about Shailja. Let me tell you this, which I told Shailja also. Before I did my first series with her, I had come to Bombay to sell a pilot episode which I had shot, I had produced, when I was in Delhi. It was on the army, by the way. It is so funny, and I think somewhere some connection has to be there. I had made a pilot called Paltan. It was basically a fiction on the Indian Army. And we couldn't complete it because I remember when we were shooting, Afghan war ho gaya tha, something had happened, and army had withdrawn the support. I was doing with the army guys. So I had reached Star Plus, and I met Shailja, and I told Shailja, I want to, a kid probably comes to her and says, I want to produce this one. and I've got an appointment with her, but when I spoke to her, when I told her, she actually just smiled and she said, "Listen, boy, you see the number of us time pe VHS cassettes hoti thi. The pilots were
Correct.
on the cassettes." So she said, "Look at this pile of these are all pilots lying here. So I'm really sorry and whatever." Sorry, and she said, "Kind of okay, please move on, but this is not happening here." And then I much later realized that why would anyone commission a show to a boy who has come from Delhi and say that I want to make a series on Indian Army? So, and then of course I did my first show with her and so, whatever. And then when we connected, again, imagine it was about the Indian Army, and she was very passionate about it, and so was I. So it was the uniform, it was the content that really, really clicked with me, and the challenge of doing a play. All three put together is the reason why I'm part of this one.
I want to actually just give you a heartfelt compliment. Because you were carrying no baggage of theatre, you came in and you did what Rajeev Khandelwal would normally do. The theatre actors are used to projection,
Yeah.
because they're used to a mahal where they have to be heard in the last row, in the 750th seat of the 20th row.
Yeah.
So with them, the projection and the shouting
Yeah.
was a lot more, which sometimes you do not require in a
Yeah.
televised format. And you were completely natural. No disrespect to these actors. They're all fantastic. They're great at their craft. But your naturality and your naturalness was just amazing. I mean, which really stood out for me. Let's talk about Court Martial now, the play and the story itself. Just to give it to you in one line, all of you who are watching or listening, uh, uh, a Jawan or a what they call an orderly sometimes in the forge has been convicted of murdering one person, injuring another person, and Bikash Roy, the army officer who Rajiv plays, is actually the defense counsel. And it asks us some very, very serious questions about the caste system, which I think we need to raise in Republic Day. When people from the West come and tell me, oh, India has this caste system, I say, boss, we are one planet. Look at the way the West has treated slaves.
Yeah.
What is the Black Lives Matter movement all about? And caste plays out in very subliminal ways, doesn't it? Let's talk a little bit about that, please.
Yeah. So, even though the play was written in 85 and the backdrop is of the Indian Army, things definitely have changed in the Indian Army also. I would say that things have changed. It isn't the same. So one request when you're watching the play is to not think that this happens in the army. It's just very symbolic. Army
Yeah,
is
very
just
important.
symbolic of what happens in a society. It could be police. It could be our homes. Pretty much. So, yes, the caste system does exist in our country. I travel all over the country. I mean, I love my country, so I travel all over the country. I've been to almost every state, barring Sikkim, in our country. And of course, in all kinds of different strata of the society also. And I'm not saying this because I'm part of this play. This is a part of my life when I see people and I see them treating in a certain manner, thinking that they are superior and they are inferior, or for that matter, caste system. Caste has changed. We have evolved a little bit. I would not say that we haven't evolved, but the caste has probably been replaced by the lesser privileged. It's the same thing. So the lesser privileged are today are dealt with in a certain manner by people who are more privileged. For example, to help you understand, when I go to a few friends of mine, I mean their homes, and I see someone sleeping in the kitchen. You enter and you see he's sleeping in the kitchen, and there are three rooms. You could easily maybe give one room, and you are staying alone. You have a 3-bedroom hall kitchen flat. Why would you want someone to just sleep there? Because if somebody sleeps on a bed, would it make a difference to your life? Or you would feel like you will have to get your bed dry cleaned. So I do not know, and I see this happening. For example, a very simple thing I'll tell you. I have a house in Goa. When friends go, it's absolutely fine. Friend will go, it's absolutely fine. But if my staff decides to go there, they say, can we go and stay there? Like I let random people go there because he's a friend ka friend hai, or my mama ka koi relative ja raha hai. I do not know them. But those who I know, if my staff decides, like, okay, sir, that's a holiday home, can we go for 4 days? Imagine what happens. So now that is a question. And I always say that, of course, you can go. And in my house, they've gone, they've stayed.
Great.
Now, this is what happens, I'm saying, because I've seen this. And growing up years also, I've seen that lesser privileged are considered to be inferior. I always say I may have a bigger spending capacity, more spending capacity than somebody else, but that doesn't make me superior to them. No, if they come in, they walk with me in the same on the same street, they need to walk shoulder to shoulder with me because I am not a superior person. I'm spending a little more because I come from a certain circumstances, a certain background. Sorry. Now, these are the things which are so hugely prevalent that we don't even realize it. And I'm sure all of us, Rishi, if we discuss this, all of us will realize it and we feel, yeah, we've been doing this, but we never thought about it. Unfortunately, people don't think about it. It's just the right. Like we were discussing before the recording started, that yeah, the cups are always separate. How's that? Always separate. Why? So when Manjari, my wife, came in, when we got married and she came and she realized that she wasn't used to it because she came from her house where it's a different set of cutlery for the house people, and she realized that Rajiv, not just that, when he makes tea, and when my that time only there was one boy in my house, Bhagat, when Rajiv makes tea, you know what I used to do? I used to put it in my cup, put it in my tray, and leave it for Bhagat. This is the tea here. Now, for Manjri, it was kind of like the same cups, how do you do it? Listen, I need to get my separate cups. And gradually she realized what I meant. My whole idea and that is why I'm so passionate about this play. I really felt that it was so important and I changed this entire thing in my in-laws place also. I said, do you realize? And they realize this, that abhi koi banda bahar se aayega. You have no issues offering them the best cups. You don't even know them. The house help. Why the plastic cup or that cup that you used to use 5 years back, now that you don't want to throw it away, you keep it for your domestic help? Why? Why can't they sit on the same table and eat? I've seen people not. My only way is my team. Generally the people who are lesser privileged also have an inferiority complex. We make it worse by hitting harder on it. So what happens is when I'm not here, and if I go to the dining area of my house, I see that they're not sitting there. Now I have to make it a point. You will not have food anywhere else but here. So I'm just saying we'll have to make conscious efforts to bridge that gap, which is of feeling superior and making someone feel inferior. We live in a capitalist world. Obviously, as I just said that your spending capacity could be more, but then by no ways you are superior. On the set also, Rishi, everyone knows if I have to pick up my chair, I pick up my chair. I come home, just to help you understand again, I landed yesterday. There is my house help. He's got some issue with the leg. He's just got stitches. And the other one, I've kind of given him an off because he was traveling with me. I come here and realized Manj is now cleaning all the 3 floors, mopping, sweeping, everything. First thing we started off, all right, so you do the sweeping part, and the guy is there whose foot is kind of not working right now, and he's watching it. I said, listen, nothing with your chota bada kaam kuch nahi hota. I'm doing my job, tu baith ja wahan pe, apna jo bhi kaam karna kar. That's how we need to do it, because we educated people need to understand no work is, nothing is dirty. If you think that you can't clean your pot and somebody else is going to clean the pot, you're a sham. For me, those who are watching it should understand what I'm saying. If you can't clean your own pot, and if you think it is meant to be cleaned by certain kind of people, then my dear friend, you are discriminating people. You are not realizing it, but you're discriminating people. I clean my own pot. I do that. I clean the drainage also, if need be. But then I should not feel like this is meant for others. So that is exactly what the play brings out. That is what the crux of the play. And after so many years, you still see it not just prevalent, it's rampant in our, especially middle class and upper middle class. You go to a town, you go to a village, you will not see all of this happening. But here it is, especially societies in Mumbai, go, buy karegi sab kaam. Hum to nahi karenge. Yuck. That pot, and the word that comes out is yuck. So if you think it's yucky to even touch that sunny fresh or whatever the thing that you put inside, if you think it is yucky to touch it, somebody else does it. It's a very sensitive issue. So
another thing that court martial talks about very ironically and beautifully is, to put it in simple terms, jiski ragging hui hai, wo sabse zyada ragging karta hai. I've had friends who've gone abroad and said, boss, the Caucasians or the Native Americans have treated me right, but it's the Indian Americans who treat me as a second-grade citizens, the American Desis, for example. And likewise, Kapoor's character, which is one of the guys in the doc, he perhaps comes from discrimination. and he just passes on that discrimination.
Yeah.
So one is privileged people discriminating against non-privileged, but they themselves, discriminating against each other once they become privileged. I want you to comment a little on.
Absolutely. There's another character in the series, a Subedar, who comes from that background only, and he knows what the other one is feeling, but he would also let that pass, which is really, really, I don't know. It's sad because I think that's the way our society is. That someone who ought to change the environment because he's gone through it, makes the other one go through much worse, because somewhere I think he would want to enjoy the position that his superior was in. The whole thing of enjoying that power to be in that position, because I was ragged, I don't care about it, I was ragged. Now this guy and what I felt when I was being ragged is forgotten completely. Now you want to be the one who was ragging you. So it's a sad thing. I think it's a very, I don't know whether it's a human thing, whether it's an Indian thing, or is it like a universal thing. But in the entire process, this thing is not coming to an end. The discrimination is not coming to an end. Who will do it? The younger generation. I think I see my friends and everyone. I think it's changing a bit, because younger generation doesn't really care, especially people who are working outside. You respect people on the basis of their merit. I mean, you don't really think. I don't think that we ask anyone, "Ki aap kahan se aaye ho? Acha, yahan se aaye ho, wahan se." We don't. In our offices also, Rishi, when we meet people, we're all friends. Acha, pani kaun lekar, abdul lekar, chai kaun lekar. We don't have that culture here. In the younger generation, I think it's still with those senior people, or the richer people. The richer people who would walk in front and their man would hold the bag, tiny little bag, which is a pouch, clutch, because he's supposed to hold that, and you're walking. It reflects the attitude, it reflects the mentality, I'm saying. So I think we need to change that in our country, and the younger generation definitely is going to change it. So I think each one of us has to realize it.
Let's talk about Bikash Roy, your character. Interesting chap.
Very interesting.
he says he grew up in Bengal, but he learned Hindi, which is the Matrabhasha.
Yeah.
Also, if you've read Shakespeare in school, like when Mark Antony's speech happens, he says everything, and then he says, "But Brutus is honorable man." But Brutus is honorable man. So I like the way his approach is. A fascinating character. I leave you to talk about Bikash Roy, please.
It's so interestingly written. And I'm saying in 85 it was written, and so many senior actors have played this character. And when it came to me, I related to this character beautifully, because it is, it's a very playful yet such a deep character. And he knows exactly what is happening. I think I played the character also because it's very close to me. I mean, I am to an extent like this only because I make it a point to tell people and say that, listen, I just showed you the mirror. Did you realize I just showed you the mirror? But it will happen. It will continue. This will continue. So similarly, Bikash Roy is a character which he's actually, I don't think that these kind of characters really, really exist, who are so passionate about it that they would go to any length. But this is more of a, how do I say it? This is probably what the writers wanted to say. He is what the message needs to go across. So I enjoyed playing it. We improvised quite a bit while I was playing this character, especially when I'm grilling those officers. There was a lot of improvisation that was happening while we were rehearsing. And I think you have to watch this to enjoy Bikash Roy, because the way he puts everything together, the way he is, the way he knows what the outcome will be, yet he shows you the mirror and say, now I leave it on you guys. This will continue. Now, depends on you guys. So it's a brilliant character, and I really, really enjoyed playing it.
And maybe that's the way forward. I mean, as opposed to danda maroing and saying, ye change karte hain, wo change karte hain, to keep showing mirrors. Start in a sweet way, but then become very firm. So I think he's representative of a lot of elements in society that we need. So I urge everybody, go and watch Bikash Roy in Court Martial. So you're just back from Uttarakhand. Was it a pleasure trip, work trip? What did you get done there?
It was a work trip. It was a emotional trip. It was work trip. A lot of things were there. I forget about it. I don't want to ruin this one right now here. But I had also gone to immerse my father's ashes to Haridwar.
Okay. Yeah. God bless his soul. Yeah.
So I'd gone there to immerse his ashes, and then I had to shoot for something. I went all the way to Oli, and then I was shooting from Oli, and I was coming down with the Ganges actually, traveling with the Ganges. I'm doing this. It's a very interesting show for me. It's a travel show which I did last year. I mean, it was basically for Prasar Bharati. It's a travel show where I travel with the Ganges, and it's a very organic show, and I love it to the core because I'm interacting with the world, I'm interacting with people, I'm interacting with the common people, and I'm traveling with them, with River Ganga. So season one had happened, and it really, really worked for everyone, the makers and the channel and everyone, and people loved the show. Those who watched it, and now we're doing season two of it. So I'm traveling again in a different direction, but I'm traveling with Ganga, and I'm talking about various things. You have to watch Rag Rag Mein Ganga season one, pick up any episode, and you'll know what I speak and what I mean. It's very close to, I think, court martial. The essence of my travel show is very, very close to the essence of court martial.
Another thing that Court Martial brought back to me is very fond memories of Sacch Ka Saamna, the show that you used to compare. And I whenever I bump into Babu, which is Siddharth
Yeah.
Basu, and Rosa, his lovely wife, I've always said, amongst all the shows that you guys have done, I used to love Sacch Ka Saamna, because it was that, in a lot of ways, it was the pursuit of the truth, and yet it had enough scandal in it for TRPs. You must be looking at it very fondly.
That show again is a brilliant show. Yeah. I mean, I can write a book on Sacch Ka Saamna because of the up close experiences that I had. I think everyone who's related to that show, be it Babu, be it me, be it Manoj Muntashir, be it the team, we still, when we think about the show and we think about the research and we think about the moments that we lived during the shooting of the show, will remain with us forever, because I think it's about human beings. People, you called it scandal, that some, of course, scandalous moments did come out for the TRP sake, but that's how we are. The moment we face the truth, it just becomes scandalous for the other, even though the other one is living the same life. So this show, you're so right, this show is actually the moment of truth for us. Watch it and you will, why Rishi was saying that's an uncomfortable watch is because you'll keep questioning yourself while you're watching it. You will be absorbed, you'll be completely into the show, but somewhere you may just slightly whisper a question to yourself and say, yeah, am I also, doing this? So, and then you will want to ignore that question, the question that comes from the heart, you'll want to ignore it, and maybe you'll ignore it actually and walk away. But while you're watching it, you may definitely question yourself. So yeah, this is Sacch Ka Saamna.
My last question is, what is Rajeev Khandelwal's note to himself for 2021? If you keep a diary or you tell yourself, how are you going to live this year?
Just the way I lived last year, just the way I lived last year. I mean, I do not make plans, too many plans in life. Right now, what I'm really looking forward to is this series that I shot for. It's a dark comedy, and I'm super thrilled, super excited about it. It's going to come out now very soon, in just about a couple of months. We are in the process of now shooting the season 2 of it already, because it's turned out like brilliant. It's one of the best comedies that you will watch. I'm telling you beforehand. So that is something that I'm looking forward to. And of course, there are many things happening, but I do not make plans, Rishi. I do not make plans for the whole year. I think I play it by the year. And it's nicer always, because then it remains organic. So I live living my life in a very organic manner. So no plans as such. I'm just looking forward to the year, especially after the pandemic.
I love conversations with you, buddy, because the last one was the Naxalbari one where we're just joking, laughing, everybody was pulling each other's leg with the boys. And here we've got in a serious discussion, which was needed, because the nature of the subject is such. So it's wonderful to move from one extreme to another. Like I said, time spent with you is always joyful. Take care of yourself, and happy 2021 to you and the family. And thank you for this chat. Cheers. Happy Republic Day.
Wish you the same. Thank you so much. Bye.